Alright, so I've been meaning to make this video on brix for a little bit, and I've had some horrible chest congestion and whatnot, so I've been holding off till you guys can hear me a little bit better. Alright, so let's get into it. What is brix? Brix is the measure of total dissolved solids in plant sap. It includes minerals, sugars, amino acids, amino sugars, and a number of secondary metabolites, just depending on what plant we're talking about. It's an indicator of plant health. The higher the brix, generally the higher the plant health, at least in that very instance when you measured it. And we'll discuss what can make brix change, and is not necessarily an indicator of overall long-term health, but is a direct indicator of immediate health regardless. So let's get into what causes low brix. There's a lot of different things that can cause your plants to have a lower brix and their health to suffer. And when the brix goes down, it makes the plant susceptible to pathogens and pests. Each pest is going to eat within a specific brix range. They require each different type of insect. Herbivore insect requires different nutrition and is able to process more or less sugars depending on their digestive tract. I will attach a brix range for all the pests and whatnot in the description. One of the number one things that causes low brix is insufficient nutrition. Usually it's not NPK, although in rare circumstances it can be. Usually it's micronutrient nutrition. And the reason that can be deficient is either because it's not in your soil or your microbiology is insufficient to make it available to the plant in large enough numbers. Flooding, heavy rains, or overwatering causes low brix because the plant will take that water up and then dilute its sap, which makes the percentage of dissolved solids go down, so your brix goes down. That one's usually easily correctable in pots and things like that, whereas in the ground it can be quite a stressor, especially if rain keeps coming down and keeps your brix low for an extended period of time. Too little water, if they can't get enough water, they're not going to be able to carry the nutrients they need up. A lot of these nutrients, like calcium, rely on water to be transported through the plant. Insufficient light or lack of UV. For you guys growing in greenhouses, hoop houses, etc., that plastic or that polycarbonate is removing most, if not all, of the UV, and also removing certain wavelengths on that end of the spectrum as well. If you're having extensive problems in your greenhouse, you may want to do something about the covering, whether that's making it removable for part of the day and giving them a couple hours with no covering, A lot of growing situations aren't set up where they can do that. Potted plants you can bring in and out and let them get some sun a couple days a week, some full sun a couple days a week. But light can be a major issue. The plant cannot produce some of the compounds it needs without UV and without sufficient light. So if we're gonna look at increasing our brix in our plants, there's few steps we should go through to do so. We need to find the reason why our brix is low. Whether that be lack of sufficient light, micronutrients, in some cases NPK, too much water, not enough water. We need to try to get to the bottom of at least what we know and correct that. If we need to amend our soil with micronutrients and or NPK amendments or feed or soluble feed. And then, let's see. If it's a soil nutrient issue and you're in the ground and your soil has the nutrients there that the plant needs, but they're not plant available, one of the best things you can do is apply those necessary photosynthetic micronutrients to the leaves along with a sugar source, and the plant will get what it needs in the short interim and begin producing a ton of sugars. It will translocate those sugars to the roots and feed the microbiology, and that microbiology will make what's in the soil available to the plant. So if it's there, sometimes just a foliar spray or two with specific micronutrients, and I'll go over those. There's specific micronutrients related to photosynthesis. And if we're seeing low brix, those often will bring us back up into a good brix range. When we come back up into that good brix range, the microbiology below the plant is being fed heavily. And we'll begin making anything in the soil available. Like I said, if you're missing it in your soil, if it's not there, you need to add it to your soil first, and then apply your foliars and whatnot to get it happy and operating at a high photosynthetic rate in the interim. Those micronutrients are magnesium, which is the center ion in the chlorophyll molecule, iron, which is often oxidized in soils, and therefore the correct form is unavailable sometimes. That's a cofactor for chlorophyll synthesis. Manganese runs the rubisco cycle. Manganese is responsible for turning water into protons and oxygen within the plant. If it's short, photosynthesis cannot happen at a high rate, and it must be manganese 2+. That's what the plant needs for that enzyme. Manganese 4+ is not taken up in some plants, and other plants do take it up, and then it toxifies them as they try to keep taking more up, looking for that manganese 2+. And then we have boron. That is responsible for the translocation of sugars and the translocation of calcium and other minerals within the plant to where it needs to go, whether it be the roots, the leaves, the shoots, the inflorescence, Boron's responsible for the motor on that train, right? Molybdenum in very minute amounts is required for nitrogen assimilation and building proteins and whatnot, and cobalt as well, extremely micronutrient, responsible for nitrogen assimilation and full nitrogen utilization into proteins and whatnot. If any of those are short, you will not have high photosynthesis. You will not have high brix. It doesn't matter how much NPK you give it, that's not going to change. In fact, it'll get worse if you give it more nitrogen and it doesn't have those that it needs. It can make it extremely pest. It can make it to where the pests just swarm into it, extremely available to them. Looking through my notes here. When we have a slow producing or a slow photosynthetic rate, and we take care of these other two issues, we address what's missing in the soil, we apply the foliars that it needs right at that moment, and boost the brix. There's also another little trick that can help a lot, and that is phosphorus and calcium are both required for sugar production. And there's a product called soft rock phosphate that's basically 40% calcium and 50% phosphorus with some micronutrients in it. And that actually comes with its own microbiome. That rock powder will have phosphorus solubilizing bacteria in it. And if we take that micronized soft rock phosphate and mix 1 to 2 grams per gallon of water in some lukewarm or barely warm water and mix it up until it dissolves, right? It's not going to want to dissolve immediately, but after 3 or 4 minutes of continual stirring, it won't fall back out. It'll be a suspended solution. Not really a solution, but it's not going to fall back out. And then add a little bit of brown sugar or molasses with that, and then you can feed your root zone and spray the leaves with it. And you will, if those other micronutrients are in place, you'll get a much stronger brix response due to the phosphorus and calcium and the sugar, because that feeds those microbes that are there already, and it helps them make all that directly available to the plant, and the plant takes it right up. If you're short potassium, you're going to have trouble moving sugars as well. Boron is the train that drives is the engine that drives that train, and potassium is that train for moving sugar. So if you're severely deficient in potassium, that is one of the NPKs that'll make a difference, but it's not going to make a difference if you're not producing sugars, only if they're not being moved. So basically, let's break this down step by step. Your step one is to know your soil, know what's in it and what's not in it, and establish a strong microbiome in that soil once you have the things that you do need in it. That can be done with adding a little extra sugar up front. Biostimulants such as mycogasm exponentially build the microbiome very, very quickly, and they make a big difference fast. And then from there we go to foliar application of anything that's needed, whether it's the micronutrients, the phosphorus, calcium, or all of those. And that provides the basis for a high photosynthetic rate right away. The plant will respond by by producing those sugars and then pumping them to the root zone and making things really take off there. Okay, so as far as disease resistance, we only need to be above a brix of 6 to be completely pathogen resistant. You won't find pathogens that attack above that brix level. But what it becomes food for at that level is more of your biting insects, such as thrips and spider mites. Those will come in at that 6 and 7 brix, and then they'll leave by 9, by a brix of 9. So you just got a short hop there if you're seeing thrips or mites or any other chewing insect like that. Biting insect, I should say. You're looking at getting rid of them by a brix of 9. Your most difficult insects are going to be your grasshoppers and beetles and whatnot, and they're going to be gone by 11 and 12. And that's where we start to see true plant health start taking place, is around 12 brix and up. That's where it becomes food. Plants become food for humans and mammals. And that's where we see above about a 16 is where we see plants truly becoming medicine, because they're producing so many secondary metabolites in addition to sugars and all these other things. Now they're producing polyphenols and flavonoids and other active secondary metabolites, terpenes, etc. And when we have good levels of those, now the plants are truly medicine for us. So it's not a matter of the bugs eating anything that's meant for you, because they can't. That wasn't meant for us until it's above 12. And once it's above 16, it's medicine. It's not just food, it's medicine. Every single thing that anybody considers food, if it has a brix of 16 or higher, is also very, very good medicine, as it's chock full of healing compounds. Let's see, I think that kind of covers it. Nice little short one. If anybody has any questions or want me to go deeper into something, leave a comment below.